The truth about detoxing, a personal experience healing from toxic overload. Toxins are all the rage right now. But what are they really, and how are they affecting our physical, mental, and emotional health? Melissa Deely shouts from the rooftops, don't wait for your wake up call. In this video, Melissa enlightens us to get our bodies back into balance before it's too late. Tune in now for a dose of toxic slaying wisdom. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show. I'm so pleased that you're here. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube so you get all the rage and all of the notifications to come join us. If you're here on the show with us today, make sure you comment. And if you happen to be watching the replay, comment as well, and we will get back to you. Here we go on a wellness driven ride. Let me introduce our guest for today. Melissa Deely is your friendly toxin slayer. She's an integrative mind-body health practitioner trained in NLP, timeline therapy, and a hypnotherapy teacher. She's dedicated to helping her clients discover the root cause of their health issues and truly heal while detoxing their physical, mental, and emotional bodies. Melissa is an international speaker and 3-time best-selling author. She's been named to the 2022 CREA, I hope I said that right, Global Award list, and is the winner of the Alignable 2023 and 2022 Local Business Person of the Year Award for Whistler. She also received the 2022-2021 Quality Care Awards for Businesses from the Heart. Melissa hosts the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast, which offers practical health education and ranks in the top 5% of global podcasts by listen to notes in the first 3 months of launching. When not serving her clients, Melissa can be found on her paddleboard, backcountry hiking and camping with her daughters, downhill or cross-country skiing, planning her next trip for her Girl Guide unit, or working on her passion project, Girls Matter, helping keep girls in school in Uganda, breaking the poverty cycle, one girl, one family, one village at a time. Please help me welcome Melissa.
Thank you for having me, April.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for being a guest here on the Wellness Driven Life Show.
I'm excited to be here and have this conversation because it's so important.
Yeah. So tell our audience a little bit about who are you and what brought you here? What brought you to where you're at? Let's get a little bit of your backstory.
Sure. So I wasn't always in health and wellness. In fact, it wasn't really on my radar until I was guided into it. I was in the corporate world up until 8 years ago, had a great 24-year career until one day big fish bought little fish and I was given an hour to clear out my desk because my services were no longer needed.
Wow.
No word of thanks either. And in that moment, I knew 3 things. I was never working for someone else again. Whatever I did next had to be more of service to humanity and the planet, and that I had no idea what I was going to do. However, I was open to being guided. And later that year, I was guided to a company in Vancouver, BC area that specialized in brain supplementation. And I thought, well, this is fascinating. I use my brain 24/7, and no one's ever told me that I can do more for the health of my brain. And given that I knew there was near epidemic Alzheimer's and dementia happening over here, I thought this might be important. And it got me thinking because my grandmother who at the time was 99 years old, was still living at home, caring for herself by herself, fully cognitively functioning.
Wow.
So I thought, well, I have good genes. And something made me ask, is that enough? And I started comparing her life to my life. And she was born in little old Christchurch, New Zealand, back in 1916, in the bottom corner of the world, growing all their own food on the property, and before all of the toxins that we have in the world today.
Yeah.
And I had the good fortune to be raised in Tokyo, Japan. However, it was in the 1970s, 80s with manufacturing plants spewing out toxins. And so I knew right there I was more toxic than my grandmother. And if I wanted to get on her path and avoid the Alzheimer's dementia path, I knew I needed to address that. And so I dove in. I started learning about the brain. I started learning about the impact of toxins on our brain and our body. And about 4 months later, my oldest daughter got a concussion in her first grade 12 soccer game of the season. And she had just started using this brain supplementation and was noticing it was helping her with, paying attention in class in grade 12 in the afternoons. And she got this concussion, and I wasn't working full time. And I realized with the concussion, she didn't have the cognitive ability to go to the appointment and then come home and tell me what they said she should do before the next appointment. And I knew that the healing doesn't happen at the appointment. It happens with what you do between the appointments. So I went to the appointments with her. I was interested in learning more about the brain, and I was following where I was being guided at this point. 2 months later, I got a phone call while driving to Vancouver that my younger daughter had a suspected concussion from grade 8 gym class. So the school was calling me and asking me to go pick her up. And in that moment, I looked out the windshield of my car out across the ocean that I was driving next to and said, really? This is how you show me my path? Stop taking out my children. Now I had 2 very different concussions going to both sets of appointments and essentially guiding their healing journey. And I kind of fell into it. And I realized and learned several things through this process. First of all, that the body doesn't heal in a stressed out state. And secondly, that people need more support on their healing journey. They need to be able to trust and be guided by someone else, because if they're trying to figure it out on their own and going to Google, etc., they're still in that stressed out state where the body doesn't heal. And we live in a small town, so people started calling me because they knew our story. How do I help my son with his concussion? How do I help my husband with his concussion? I have an employee that needs to return to work. How do I bring them back in? They've just had a concussion. And then I was invited to work at a local holistic clinic and help more people with concussion recovery and the nutritional piece of it that I was digging into more and more. And I couldn't work there because I couldn't get insurance because I didn't have a certification. And so then I started thinking, I guess I need to go back to school. And life coach had been bouncing around in the back of my head ever since I'd been let go, but it hadn't landed. Now, though, I called a friend who was a life coach and said, where did you do your training? I need to go back to school and I want a reputable school. And he just said, you don't need to be a life coach. You need to be a health coach. And I went, what? What's that? Never heard the term. Another gift from the heavens. I started searching health coaching schools, found one that I really aligned with, jumped into their next cohort, which started the following week. And from there, I never looked back.
That is fascinating. I want to backtrack a little bit because the community reached out to you to start asking you, how do I help with these concussions? I can't say it right, but your children received this. So I would love to know, how did their healing process go?
So it was very different for each child. Every concussion is different, right? And so you can't even predict how long someone's healing journey is going to be. What you can do is support them in that journey. And one of the biggest things is giving them the belief of the power of the human body and brain to heal. Because they didn't ask for this. They're feeling, in many cases, depressed because they can't live life the way they used to, because their brain can't process everything the way that it used to. So it's very difficult for that concussed person. but just giving them the hope that together we can get through this. And let's focus on your nutrition. Let's bring your inflammation levels down. Let's get you moving your body. Let's get you retraining your brain to do what it can do before. And so
That makes
having that kind of support is really important. And the great news is both of my girls fully recovered.
Oh, wonderful. Excellent. And that all makes sense, right? When we start giving our bodies the proper nutrition and we have the belief system to know that everything is going to work out and we can heal. So that
Exactly.
also is going back and stemming to, you began this journey, and I want to go back to that story a little bit of your grandmother and how that started making you think about not being exposed to the toxins like we are now. So can you go back to that time and tell me a little bit, when was the pinpoint moment that you decided to shift and start learning about that?
So it was literally when I had that realization of comparing her life to my life. And so it started initially by learning about the brain, the way the brain detoxes, and then starting to understand the toxins that are in our world around us, and learning that 144,000 man-made chemicals have been introduced into our world since World War II. Now, when I
Yeah.
first started learning this 8 years ago, guess what? That was only around 77,000. So that's gone up a lot in the last eight
Yeah.
years, right? And then what I've also seen in the last 8 years, which should give everyone hope, is so many more companies producing clean products. So the choices we have
Yeah.
today versus what we even had 8 years ago is significantly more. Now,
I
those
agree.
the products you're buying that are clean, you're very rarely buying in a regular store. You're not finding them in Walmarts or Walgreens or Costco's, et cetera, et cetera. You're finding them online, or you're finding them at local farmers markets, et cetera.
Yeah, I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more through my own personal research. And thank you for saying that, that there is hope, that now, that we have an awareness of, and we continue to share the awareness of, you know, we have options for people. So I'm going to go into our first commercial. This is great stuff. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the daily toxins that we come into contact with. Stay tuned.
Are you a practitioner or a coach listening to this? If so, I would love to ask you, do you use hypnotherapy in your practice working with clients? And if not, would you like to? The power of hypnotherapy is limitless. And so often we experience our clients struggling to reach their goals. It's because they're coming up against their own brick walls and getting stuck. But you can help them through the power of hypnosis break through all of that, working with their unconscious mind to put the suggestions in, to have them taking the action to achieve the results that they want. They are thrilled with your coaching techniques. They're getting the results they want. You feel amazing because you are helping your client get the results they want. It's a win-win. And another win is that it's an added revenue stream for you in your business. So if you like the feel of helping your clients get the results they want, if you like the sound of that, then definitely reach out, Melissa at yourguidedhealthjourney.com, or click the Linktree link below for my Unlimited Power of Hypnosis class to learn more. It's a weekend designation program that I teach, valid in 42 countries. You write an exam after taking the experiential course, and you can be admitted to the American Board of Hypnotherapy and start using hypnotherapy one-to-one with your clients and have them achieving the results they want.
Welcome back. Now, Melissa, you call yourself the friendly toxin slayer, which is such a cool, fun term. I'm so glad that you came up with that because of that. So it's a cool term, right? And so let's talk a little bit about what is your experience and knowledge in toxins, and why and how does it have an effect on how we heal?
Toxins create stress in the body, they create inflammation in the body. And when the body is stressed, it doesn't heal, as I've said earlier.
Yep.
Inflammation in and of itself causes more stress. when our toxin levels get high, our liver can't function properly, and our liver is charged with over 500 different chemical reactions, and its number one job is to keep our bloodstream pure and clean. And when it gets burdened from too many toxins, as well as another problem we have, which is our soil systems are depleted of nutrients that the liver
Mhm.
needs in order to help excrete the toxins from our body, our liver can't do its job properly. And if it can't do its job properly, what it will do is, instead of allowing the toxins into our bloodstream, it will store them in our fat closets. Our brain is largely fat and water. Our breasts have a lot of fat tissue. And then anywhere else we're carrying excess weight. And I don't know about you, April, but I don't want toxins running around in my brain. I
No.
also don't want them running around in my breasts. Hello, Alzheimer's and dementia. Hello, breast cancer.
Right.
Right? Let's get these toxins out of our body. And we do have so many toxins. As I said, 144,000 man-made chemical toxins since World War II that are getting inside our body unbeknownst to us through our water, through our air, through our food. We're putting them on our skin with the personal care products that we use, that we buy at the
Mhm.
local store. And we don't necessarily realize it until someone points it out to us, because we're just going about our daily lives trying to do the best we can, build our career, raise our kids, et cetera, get the kids to soccer and swimming, et cetera, et cetera. I've been there. I know that,
Yeah,
right?
I think people are just not aware. They
Yeah.
have no idea until they're taught and somebody says and points it out, "Hey, did you know what you're putting in, on, and around your body has an effect on you?"
And it happens so quickly. It only takes 26 seconds from the time you put on a
Oh,
hand lotion or some kind of face cream that's full of toxins, 26 seconds, and
wow.
boom, it's in your bloodstream. It doesn't even get to be filtered by the liver like your food does,
Wow.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's
because
a
the
real
skin is the
problem.
largest organ and it just
Exactly.
sucks it in.
It does. And it's a real problem because the companies don't have to do much, if anything at all, in the means of proving their products are safe, right?
Mm,
They might test an ingredient, and it might get this standard label, GRAS, generally regarded as safe, which means
mm,
nothing,
right.
nothing, right? Even if you think of those words, generally regarded as safe, how vague is that? Plus, they've tested that one ingredient on one person, or okay, a control group, but one ingredient.
Yeah.
They haven't tested that with all the other ingredients you have access to and you use throughout your day, and that, plus the air, the fumes from exhaust from cars getting on your skin when you're outside, et cetera, et cetera. The average woman is putting over 200 chemicals on her body before she even leaves the house to go out in the morning, because these products all have more than one chemical toxin in them,
Right.
and they're not all tested together.
Mhm.
So we are one giant human experiment when it comes to these products. And I'll tell you what's happening, what the result of that giant human experiment is. It's chronic illness, epidemic levels of chronic illness. What is chronic illness? Chronic illness is Alzheimer's and dementia, some forms of cancer, autoimmune diseases, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, leaky gut, etc., etc., etc. These are all lifestyle diseases that we do not have to accept as a life sentence. The body can heal from them when we create the environment for the body to be able to do that. The body is designed to self-heal.
Yeah.
We just have to create that environment. And with our toxic load so high, we're not creating that environment. When we get the toxins out of the body, when we also address the stress in our lives, which is the other thing that is very, very high, and we normalize in society because we look around and we see everyone else is stressed out and we think it's okay, and we don't realize what it's doing to our health. Those two things, we wouldn't have epidemic levels of chronic illness anymore.
Mm.
Again, this isn't taught.
No, it's not. And what you're saying is, because toxins are stressors to the body, not only are we getting all of the environmental stressors of our everyday lives, like traffic and, having to take care of the children and career, we're just bombarding ourselves with stress overload, which of course leads even further and quicker into disease. So,
Exactly.
tell me, Melissa, and our audience, what are some tips and tricks? What can people do to help alleviate this issue?
Well, first of all, I again want to give people hope. I don't want you to walk away and go, oh my goodness, I'm toxic. I'm going to get some chronic illness, right?
Always
What
hope.
we need to do is rebalance the body, right? And yes, there's, toxins, as you said earlier, it's a hot topic and you can go buy a detox on your supermarket shelf. I liken our body to being like an overflowing trash can, and it's literally overflowing right now. The store-bought detox is going to maybe, take off that top layer that's overflowing, but the garbage bin is still full. What you really want to do if you're serious about this, about reversing the toxic load, about reducing the symptoms that you're experiencing that you may have just been ignoring, is you need to empty that trash can. And the way you empty that trash can is you choose a functional medicine detox that's created by a doctor. And that's what I offer. And it's what many other holistic practitioners also offer. And so when it comes to this, if you're serious about it, you want to literally choose the product that is going to empty your trash can. Now, what can you do in between? You can hydrate more, because hydrating properly also helps to start flushing the toxins through. And by hydration, I'm not talking coffee, I'm not talking energy drinks, I'm not talking alcohol, I'm literally talking good quality water. And that might not even be your tap water, because your tap water could be loaded with aluminum and fluoride and other toxins. Even buying bottled water, if that bottled water has been near a heat source, that can cause toxins from the plastic to get into the water. So that's not an option either. Your best option is to actually buy a filter for your home, and they're not expensive. And to then have clean water coming out of all of the taps in your home, not just your drinking water, but what you're showering in as well. Because when you're showering, it's getting all over your skin. So just start by looking at your water, what you're drinking, what you're showering in, and that's a huge step. Something else I offer is a Discover Your Toxic Load quiz. You can take my quiz. My link tree will be attached. It's within there. And that will bring awareness to you as to the symptoms you're experiencing. Like I said, that you might have been ignoring, therefore you don't have real awareness around it. And just having that awareness to start realizing, oh, I don't have to accept these symptoms as aging or genetics or seasonal allergies. I can actually do something about them. And when you do a proper functional medicine detox, those symptoms will go away. The aches and pains go away. The inflammation levels are coming down. Brain fog goes away, and you get mental clarity. You can be more productive as a result. You sleep better. There is some weight loss too, because those toxins weigh something, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's a nice bonus. And that's when I start to hear people saying towards the end of their 21-day detox with me is, wow, I don't remember the last time I felt this good.
Yeah. Well, of course they would feel better, right? I mean, they're getting rid of the junk. They're
Exactly.
lessening that trash can overload. And so,
Exactly.
yes, why wouldn't you? So I love those tips and tricks. The water, not all water is created equal. I put one of
Exactly.
our sponsors on here too for Kangen water, so you can
Yep.
learn more about that. That'll be in the description below. And, so what I want to ask about functional medicine is, when you have a client and you're giving them a detox, is that the same for everyone, or is it specific to that person and that individual?
So what I run them as group programs, and I do have individual programs as well. I start everyone in the same place, even though everyone is coming to me in a different state of health. But I have to have a starting point, right? So I start them all in the same place. However, if people are struggling because this start of this functional medicine detox, which happens quickly, is too much for their body, I will adjust and tweak and adapt for them. And so every person's experience is very personalized. And I have everybody on an app where they're tracking how they're feeling, they're tracking what they're eating, drinking, their exercise, as well as any notes they want to take, as well as bowel movements, because it's important that we get those toxins out. So I need to know bowel movements are happening. And I follow that every single day with my clients so that I can do check-ins with them and cheer them on when they're doing well, and cheer them up when they're feeling like, oh my God, this is the hardest thing ever. Because it's hard at the beginning. We're changing the way people are eating because we're getting rid of foods that are typically a problem. Food sensitivities causes inflammation in the body as well. So even though it's a healthy food, if you're sensitive to it, it's not healthy for you. And every time you eat it, that triggers inflammation, right? And we're trying to bring down inflammation, calm the body to give it that space to heal. So we are shifting the way people eat. I provide delicious recipes. They love them, but it's a change, and change can be hard. And so that's why I offer a very high level of support, and I meet everybody where they're at and adjust accordingly as needed. Some people can do it exactly to plan. I would say for 5% of the people, I have to do some tweaking and bring them on more slowly.
Well, yeah. And you're working with people in the physical, mental, and emotional arenas. So, yeah, it's a process. And of course, it's going to be challenging at first. Any great change and great amount of detoxing is going to take that.
Exactly. And I've just been talking about the physical detoxing so far. The emotional detoxing is where we go in and we use timeline therapy and we clear out those toxic emotions that have been stuffed down, because our body and our cells remember every experience we've ever had.
That's
And
right.
so often as children, we've had experiences and we've been trying to release our emotions, and we've been told, big girls don't cry, boys don't cry.
Mm.
Don't bring your emotions to school, don't bring your emotions to work, et cetera, right? And so as a result, we've learned to stuff them down, and as if it's bad to feel them. And people actually will have that belief sometimes, it's bad to feel my emotions, or it's not safe to feel my emotions. So I work with them, and this work is one-to-one, in order to help them release what's stuffed down and clear that out of their system, and they feel so much lighter and freer. And then they also have space to bring in what they're wanting to create now. So it's really powerful work. And then the mental toxins are the voices in our head. And I love to ask people, if you talked to another human being the way you talk to yourself, would you have any friends?
That's so powerful. So powerful.
Right? And the other
Yeah.
thing I love to share is, when we're talking to another human, we're often told you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, talk less, listen more. However, I share with my clients, when we're talking about the voices in our head, we need to talk more and listen less, because so much of what's being said to us is total BS.
Interesting.
And so let's instead talk back to it. So for instance, in my detox program, the first 2 days are fasting days. Now, nobody's going to starve. They have a shake with all the vitamins and minerals they need. They're actually getting more nutrition than they're getting from their food in many cases, because the body doesn't even have to work hard to break it down. It's just a shake, right? And then there's a detox formula in it. However, their brain is going to start talking to them towards the end of day 1 when they haven't had any solid food. And it's going to start suggesting, what are you doing? This is weird. Why aren't you eating food? You're hungry. I think you should eat something. Because your brain is charged with keeping you safe, and it's recognizing you're doing something different, which means it doesn't know where you're going. It doesn't know if it can keep you safe over there. So it's going to call you back into your comfort zone. It knows it can keep you safe in your comfort zone because you're here and you're alive.
Yeah.
That's when you talk back to your brain. You go, no, I got this. And I know how to get my questions answered, because I can just message Melissa in the app. And you need to just bear with me while I bring us to a new place of health over here. And when people are empowered to talk back to their brain like that, they can do it.
Yeah.
And then the brain leaves them alone, because we can actually have a conversation with our brain.
You're retraining it.
You are. And, I kind of laugh, because maybe 50 years ago, if you were caught talking to yourself, you might have been admitted somewhere. And yet it's one of the healthiest things that we can do, is to keep those thoughts in check and catch them. And I love to say to people, and it's from my NLP training, just say cancel, cancel, cancel. If something pops into your head and you're like, oh, I didn't want to think that thought, I don't believe that thought, cancel, cancel, cancel.
Oh, I like that.
Out of your mouth.
Yeah. Cancel, cancel, cancel. I like that.
And then say it the way you want to say it. Say it in a way that's positive. Say it in a way that's going to get you to where you're going.
Yeah.
And that's also where the hypnotherapy comes in, because so often we hypnotize ourselves into I can't, or I'm not good enough,
Oh,
right?
so much, so often.
Let's instead hypnotize ourselves into success, into passion, into mission, into purpose, into love, joy, hope, etc. And we
Ah,
can do that too. We just need to know. And once again, all of this work with our unconscious mind isn't taught through our education system.
mm-mm.
And yet
So
it's the most powerful portion of our mind.
it is. And speaking of, I want to jump right into that because you have this history of learning about hypnotherapy and then you became a hypnotherapist. So when after we're done with this commercial, we're going to jump right into that. And I do want to circle back a little bit how I get excited that through your nutrition program, you offer people something to eat. It's not just the first couple of days where you don't get anything or you get, water and lemon and cayenne, like I never did well with those sort of detox. And so I love the programs where you actually are feeding your body and you're feeding your body the best things. And of course, through my experience, I think the first 3 days are the worst. And if you can get through those first 3 days, you're going to be feeling amazing. So that's so awesome, Melissa. Let's go to this next commercial. When we get back, let's talk about hypnotherapy because that is a fascinating subject when we come back.
KimJacobsConsulting.com. People say opportunity knocks on every door. Right. No. Opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. That's KimJacobsConsulting.com. Did I say KimJacobsConsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you.
So here we are again. And Melissa, I would love for you to talk about hypnotherapy. Why did you decide to become a trainer in that and learn about it?
Well, actually, just before we go there, I want to pick up where you left off right beforehand, talking about a detox with food, right? And not having to do the whole thing without food, because there are people that are proponents of a 7-day water fast. 99% of the population is not interested in that. And it's actually quite draining on the body because you're not giving it any nutrients at all. And so you can get through the 7-day water fast, although you probably need to take a week off work because by day 2, you're not functioning well. And then your body's depleted and it can take 3 months to recover. So the program that I offer is created by a naturopathic doctor who trained in Ayurvedic medicine in India and has attended their Panchakarma detox centers. He's also trained in China and traditional Chinese medicine and done their detoxes. And he's made it a program that works for the North American mindset. And so it's over 3 weeks. And over 3 weeks, you end up doing about 7.5 days of fasting, but it's not all at once. And it is still while giving your body the nutritional support it needs, but allowing your body to stop digestion. And when we shut down our digestive system, that's when our deep cleaning system can start working. It's called a state of autophagy. And that's when the body can clear out the toxins and get rid of dead cells and damaged cells and start to grow us new healthy cells that bring us new energy, right?
Yeah.
And then days 3 to 7, you're still having the shake, you're still using the detox formula, but you're having really nutritious meals that are so nutrient dense that guess what? You're not looking for crappy snacks in between to boost your energy like you are in your everyday world where you have those crashes throughout the day and you're reaching for the quickest chocolate bar or coffee
Your
or
body,
whatever to keep you going.
you're not craving it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what I love about the program is we spread it out. People can do it in their everyday life. They do not have to take vacation to do it. And you're right, though, the first 3 days are the hardest. But I tell you, when you get to break your fast on day 3 with lunch, it is the best meal you have ever had. So hypnotherapy, yes. I started learning hypnotherapy, and the more I learned about it, the more I learned about our unconscious mind, because of course I'm still interested in the brain from 8 years ago, right? I realized, wow, this information needs to get out there. This is such a powerful healing modality that we carry right between our ears. Therefore, we are meant to use it. And we just need the tools to use it with, right? And there's no negative side effects to this kind of modality. And our conscious mind only gives us access to 10% of what our mind can actually access. 10%, that's it. And yet our education system thinks we have to be in our conscious mind to learn. No, all learning, all change, all behaviors in the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is the heart of our imagination. It's our feeling mind. It's where all of our memories are laid, etc. And it's in charge of all of our autonomic health functions.
Yeah.
Keeps you breathing every second of every day, keeps your heart pumping, your digestive system working. You never give it a moment's thought because it's unconscious. Our conscious mind is where we try to change behavior and where all we have access to there is willpower. How does that work for you?
It doesn't.
Exactly. 85% of people's New Year's resolutions are done by the end of January because all they have is willpower.
Yeah.
When we actually go into the unconscious mind, we can rewrite the neurology. And in seconds, I can have people who have cravings for something like a box of brownies, a bag of chips, a tub of ice cream that once they start eating it, they can't stop, and have them not even want it anymore because we rewire the neurology. And with hypnotherapy, it is extremely powerful at behavioral change in any aspect of your life, whether that's in work, in getting your sales calls done that you might feel resistance towards, or your follow-up, or whether it's getting your workout in and creating a habit around working out, whatever that is that you're wanting to create in your life, hypnotherapy is so powerful.
Do you feel like hypnotherapy can work for anyone?
Yes. And I've had people tell me that they can't be hypnotized. And my answer to that is you've been hypnotized into believing you can't be hypnotized. Because
You know, I have an interesting story, Melissa, with this. My background's in law enforcement. And during the time that I was in that field, that was my career field, I actually went to a hypnotherapist. And you know what they told me? They told me that people in my field, it doesn't normally work because we're too skeptical. So we are unable to go into, a deeper trance state of being because we just won't allow ourselves. So I found that fascinating, and I did it anyway because I said, it's worth a try.
And so here's my answer to that. First of all, every single human can be hypnotized. When I work with people and in the training courses, I spend a lot of time getting rid of the misnomers about hypnosis for people. It's not just people in law enforcement. The Hollywood movies make it sound like brainwashing, right? And so there's a lot of people that are confused when you look at stage shows, right? They're done for humor, but some people walk away feeling mortified for the people on stage, thinking, I'm never going to allow that to happen to me. They took over that person's brain and made them do all these things, and how embarrassing. And reality is they do that on purpose because this is what hypnotherapy looks like. That's it. Very boring. No laughs for your stage show, right? So what they do is they look for the biggest extroverts in the room. And they ask, first of all, who wants to come up on stage and be a volunteer? Well, the introverts don't even put up their hands, right? And the extroverts do, and then they get you up on stage, and then they have you doing a series of sillier and sillier things to see who is willing to play along. And that's what hypnotherapy is. Who is willing to play along? And the unconscious mind is always charged with keeping us safe. So as people start playing along, some people's unconscious mind goes, no, this isn't safe. I'm not willing to do this, so I'm going to snap you out of trance. And guess what? You're going to be quietly walked off at the back of the stage and back to your seat until they're left with the people whose unconscious minds are like, yeah, this is totally cool. I would do this in trance or not, right? And so those people are up there having the time of their life because this is stuff that they would normally do. And now they have the freedom to do it. And they're getting laughs.
Yeah.
And so I explain this to people. And then I take them through a series of steps to show them how suggestible they are and how if they just follow my instructions, that they can do this too. And hypnotherapy is for intelligent people because intelligent people can follow instructions. It's for creative people because it's all about using our imagination. And some people might feel they're not creative. Guess what? They are. They just need to open that channel. And again, I'm showing them this throughout the day. So when I'm teaching classes, I don't just like snap as soon as we start, go, right, I'm going to hypnotize you all. No, I'm leading them through a process that is showing them how they can be hypnotized. And when I work with clients, I do the same thing on a more condensed version because I can still do that within an hour. But I certainly don't start off by saying, well, you're from law enforcement, and so you're less likely to be able to be hypnotized. That is absolutely working against you. And that is creating a limiting belief for you, as opposed to, let me show you how suggestible you are. And we go
and because when we know, we retrain the thought process.
Exactly.
And, I mean, there's so many benefits of it.
Exactly. And anybody who's walking in the door to a treatment is clearly open to it. So why would you shut them down at the beginning? That seems crazy to me, right? Anyway, I want the audience to know every single human being can be hypnotized because we're just working with the unconscious mind, which you have access to right between your ears. You just may not know it yet.
Yeah.
And secondly, it uses trance, and you're already spending 95% of your day in trance, and you just don't realize it. However, have you ever driven from point A to point B, and you get to point B, and you're like, I don't remember the last 10 minutes of that drive or more? Done that?
Yeah.
Everyone's done that, right? You're driving in trance. Or perhaps you've done this. Everyone's done this. Okay, let me just find my phone, and then I'll get right back to you. And you got your phone up to your ear, right? Because you're in trance when you picked up your phone and talking, and now you're in your conscious mind and you've forgotten that your phone's already in your hand, or the glasses on the head, they're on your head, you can't find them anywhere. The car keys are in your hand, can't find them anywhere because you picked them up when you were in trance. Then you go to look for where you expect them to be using your conscious mind, and you can't find them because they're in your hand, and you start asking everybody else, right? Another classic example of being in trance is watching TV and movies. Superman movie. Superman goes into the phone booth, he puts on his cape, and then he flies out of the phone booth. He's flying across the sky, and he's going to go to the burning building, and he's going to rescue all the people, and you're enjoying the movie, and you're cheering for Superman, and you want him to save those people. You're not standing up going, this is ridiculous, people can't fly, this movie's dumb. Because you're enjoying the movie, you're in a state of trance, you're allowing willful suspension of disbelief, and you're in your imagination. That's what we're doing when we're working with the unconscious mind and with hypnotherapy. But instead of just being in a state of trance and doing nothing with it, we're giving you suggestions for your unconscious mind in that state of trance in order to create the behavioral change or the outcomes that you want. And that's why it's so powerful. We're using what you can already do to create the change that you're looking for and have it be easy.
So powerful. It makes perfect sense why you started learning about that and discovering it. So very, very cool. Do you have any examples or experiences of where after, having a client go through that, or even yourself, what kind of transition that created?
The most powerful ones are people that are coming to me in chronic pain. And they just haven't had a pain-free day in so long. And when I hypnotize them and bring them back up, they're amazed that they have no pain. And I love that because when we live a life in pain, it uses energy. when we're
Yeah.
in pain, right? It's exhausting. It's stressful on the body again, et cetera, et cetera. And when we relieve that pain, it's so freeing for people. But we can, another one is smoking. People that have been smoking or vaping and they want to quit. And again, they're trying with willpower and it's really hard to do. One session.
Oh, that's amazing. That is
And
so
then,
amazing.
yeah. And then food addictions, things people know they shouldn't be eating and they can't stop, right? And they just don't want them anymore, right? So I've done all sorts of things, from Pringles to Kit Kats to Diet Pepsi to Jubes to you name it.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, they're all so good, right?
They're designed to be. They're loaded with sugar, and sugar is addictive, and the food industry knows it. They want more profit. They get you to buy more.
Of course.
And that's a technique that isn't even hypnotherapy, but it's still working with the unconscious mind. And again, like that, we can map it over and have you not want it ever again.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, Melissa, we're going to go into our last commercial. And then when we come back, I want you to explain to us what you mean by empowered health when we come back.
Are you a practitioner or a coach listening to this? If so, I would love to ask you, do you use hypnotherapy in your practice working with clients? And if not, would you like to? The power of hypnotherapy is limitless. And so often we experience our clients struggling to reach their goals. It's because they're coming up against their own brick walls and getting stuck. But you can help them through the power of hypnosis break through all of that, working with their unconscious mind to put the suggestions in, to have them taking the action to achieve the results that they want. They are thrilled with your coaching techniques. They're getting the results they want. You feel amazing because you are helping your client get the results they want. It's a win-win. And another win is that it's an added revenue stream for you in your business. So if you like the feel of helping your clients get the results they want, if you like the sound of that, then definitely reach out, Melissa at yourguidedhealthjourney.com, or click the Linktree link below for my Unlimited Power of Hypnosis class to learn more. It's a weekend designation program that I teach, valid in 42 countries. You write an exam after taking the experiential course, and you can be admitted to the American Board of Hypnotherapy and start using hypnotherapy one-to-one with your clients and have them achieving the results they want.
Can learn more about Bella Grace in the description below. And Melissa, tell us, what do you mean by empowered health?
What I mean by that is that people have so much more control over their health outcomes than they've been led to believe. Many people have been raised to believe that you get sick, you go to the doctor makes you better. First of all, that's a lot of responsibility to put on another human being. And secondly, what we now know to be true with the science of epigenetics is that your genes do not dictate your health outcomes. They're only 5 to 10% of the equation. And the other 90 to 95% is the environment you create inside your body from the lifestyle that you lead. And so when you realize that and know that I can make different choices in my lifestyle and I can change my health outcomes. When women get told they're going to get breast cancer by their doctor because their mother had it and their aunt had it or their sister had it, that is the worst thing somebody can hear, because guess what? That's running around in the back of our unconscious mind, right? And what we focus on manifests. So if we have that fear, it's weakening our immune system, it's causing stress, and we're focusing on it. And guess what? You can bring on that breast cancer. If you instead understand that their genes do not dictate your health outcomes, and you can choose instead to lower the inflammation in your body, get rid of the stress, make better choices in terms of the products that you're using on your body, etc., address your stress levels, that is when you get to create a body that is inhospitable to disease. And you can absolutely do that. What it requires is a decision to take proactive action in your health versus I'm going to do nothing and I'm going to wait to get sick and go to the doctor and expect them to heal me, and giving up all of your power to that doctor.
Yeah. I love the study of epigenetics because it so beautifully explains just that, that we do have the power, that just because somebody says that, oh, well, this goes through your family, that's not necessarily the case. And that we do have the power to change that. So I love that term, empowered health. So cool.
And I just want people to know that we literally can create a body that's inhospitable to disease. And it's never too late to start. So don't sit here and go, oh, well, I have this chronic illness. It's too late for me. No, it's not. That's the beautiful thing about the human body. It is designed to self-heal. As I said earlier, we just need to create the environment for it to be able to do that. And because of poor nutrition, high stress, lack of nutrients, lack of sleep, we're depleting ourselves so the body can't come into balance on its own. But when we understand that, and through the functional medicine lab testing I run, and it gets mailed to your home, how easy is that? I know where you're deficient. I know where you're toxic. And then we can support your body in removing the toxins, supporting the deficiencies to bring it into balance, and it will take over and heal itself. I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose. I don't heal. I don't cure. I guide you. Your body does the healing.
I love that. And, I'm a testimony to that as well. So all of these things that you're saying, I can say hold true. So I think that that's fabulous, and I love the fact that you say that too. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but we can help guide you to, just the awareness of and the knowledge that our bodies are more powerful than you could ever think possible.
And to let you know there are options, and for you to know that you are your own best doctor. You've lived in your body your entire life, and your body does talk to you. Listen to your intuition. If you go to the doctor thinking something's wrong with you and they tell you, oh, your blood tests are all fine, it's all in your head, get a second opinion. It's not all in your head. They just don't have the answers for your particular situation.
Absolutely.
You didn't fit into their box that required a medication. So go deeper. Keep looking.
So tell me a little bit about your passion project.
Girls Matter. Yes. So Girls Matter started early in 2017 after I took my girl guides to see a documentary in 2013 called Girls Rising. And it's all about the plight of girls being denied the right to go to school in developing countries. And I watched that documentary with tears running down my face. I was sitting in a room of girls who often, or sometimes anyway, begged not to go to school, faked being sick so they didn't have to go to school, myself included, my children included. And here there were girls around the world being denied the right to go to school simply because they were girls. And I just thought, this is so wrong, and I need to do something about it. Education should be a right, not a privilege for every human being. And I didn't know how to get started, but it just was in the back of my mind. And through all of this, I was also being let go from my job and discovering my new path into health and wellness. And one day I went to a seminar where I heard the speaker say, every human being is put on this planet to never stop learning, find their passion, and be of service. And that you don't have to know the how, you just have to know the why. And that really resonated with me. And I was like, you know what? I just need to start talking about this, and it'll happen. The how will come to me. And I did. I picked up the phone. I called the only people I knew that had a nonprofit organization in the province of British Columbia and asked them how to get started. And they said, what do you want to do? And I told them, and they said, we'll do it with you. They already had preschools helping educate children at the younger end of the spectrum in developing countries because the schools were so overcrowded and many kids were coming out of elementary school still illiterate. And so by starting preschools and teaching kids ABCs and 1, 2, 3s earlier, they could hold their own through the elementary schools. So it was wonderful because I got to start like that, piggybacked with them and their little preschools. We had teachers in the community that could help us navigate the path of keeping girls in school longer so that they weren't being married off as teenagers when their parents could no longer afford to keep them or pay their school fees. And what we've just done that is happening today is we've fundraised to provide all of the girls in this village in Uganda with menstrual supplies, reusable, washable menstrual supplies, so that they don't have to miss a week of school every month because they had none.
Wow.
And we
Wow.
take it for granted. Our lives do not stop because we have our cycle. Theirs do. They have to stay home. And now they don't have to. So it's been wonderful to be fundraising, not only to keep the girls in school and pay for their school fees, but also to be able to ensure that they have the menstrual supplies so they can fully live and they don't have to hide at home for a week of every month. And when we educate the girls, we actually change the GDP of the country.
Yeah, of course you do. And I can see how passionate you are, Melissa, and what an incredible testimony to anyone who has this idea and this desire to really make a change in the world. You know, you said, I just need to start talking about this, and then the rest will come. It will happen. I don't know how, I don't know who, when, why, but it's going to happen. I just need to start talking about it. So I love that you shared that with us. I want to make sure that the audience knows how to reach you. I have been running this along the bottom. And so your website is yourguidedhealthjourney.com. Again, that's yourguidedhealthjourney.com with Melissa, excuse me, go on, my tongue tied. And then also you have a link tree, which is very great. And that's your guided health journey. So also this is going to be in the description below on the show. Melissa, you're so full of wisdom and you offer so many incredible things for the people that you work with and also the world abroad. I mean, wow, so many incredible things that you're doing. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience here today?
Just to simply choose to get started. It's a choice. Even if you're feeling stuck, even if you don't know how, simply by choosing to get started and speaking what it is that you want, that will get you unstuck. So don't wait a moment longer. Life is short, and get out there and live it fully with full health. Live it fully to the end. That's what I want. That's why I chose to be on my grandmother's path. She died at 101 in her sleep at home. That is a life well lived. The average North American today is spending 10 years in a nursing home at the end of their life. There's a huge cost to that, and that is wasted 10 years from my perspective. And it doesn't have to be that way.
I agree. I don't know too many people who are interested in going that route. So let's be on the prevention level and not do that.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melissa, for being on the Wellness Driven Life Show. It has been an honor to have you here and share your wisdom and light with the audience. I want to let the audience know that the Wellness Driven Life Show wouldn't be possible without you. So you can donate to the Wellness Driven Life Show because that's how we're here. That's how we're able to have all these incredible speakers tell their stories and their wisdom and their light. And if you donate on the website at www.thewellnessdrivenlifeshow.com, you'll be left with this beautiful email follow-up that you can keep for your records. So I want to say again, thank you so much, Melissa, for being on the show. Thank you to our audience, and goodbye for now. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.